Bryan Kohberger, charged with first-degree murder in the deaths of 4 Idaho college students, will be in court multiple times this week. Kohberger is accused of killing the 4 students back in November of 2022, 18 months since their deaths, and still no trial date has been set. The judge in the case is expected to decide on the defense's request for a change of venue. The defense team also claims the prosecution is withholding key evidence from them. Joining me now is criminal defense attorney and host of True Crime Daily Sidebar podcast, Joshua Ritter. Joshua, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well, Joshua. The judge has closed both court hearings to the public. Why would he do that? The defense team wants to keep the hearings public. Why would the benefit be for them to keep it closed and keep all this behind closed doors?
I think the judge is very aware of the amount of media attention that this case has been getting, especially on the internet. There's a lot of cyber sleuths, if you want to call them that, who've been following this case and just dissecting every piece of information that's been released. So these hearings, at least one of them, is going to include discussions about a lot of evidence, some of which will be used at trial. And I think he's just sensitive to the idea of having that discussion candidly in court and not having that disseminated to the public and perhaps affecting a potential jury pool. So it's just kind of a caution on the part of the judge to make sure that that doesn't take place.
Joshua, you've been covering this from the beginning, and I know that you've heard all kinds of theories. Also, the hearings are taking place in the county seat of Latah County, which is Moscow, Idaho's population, roughly 26,000 people. Do you expect the judge to move this high-profile case to a different location?
That does seem like the way things might be going, especially with the defense has been taking this poll that there was a lot of discussion about previously. They've been actually doing a telephone poll with people in the area to see how much they know already about the case. The defense is very concerned about how this has affected that community, and I think rightfully so. That it's a small enough community that this seems to be the only thing folks were talking about for a very long period of time, and as it continues to come up in the news, it seems to be the only thing that they talk about. So they're concerned that somehow a jury pool will have already made up their minds about this absolute tragedy that struck their community. So they're making their best efforts to have it moved, and I seem to think that the judge is leaning in that direction.
Yeah, Joshua, anytime you have 4 college students killed randomly, yeah, that definitely can be top of mind for people in that community. Now, Kohberger's defense is saying that the prosecution is not giving them the evidence connected to this crime that they are entitled to. Typically, how do judges generally rule in situations like these where one side allegedly isn't giving all the evidence that they're supposed to be giving up?
Usually a lot of deference is given to the defense because they're the ones who are playing catch up. Much of this evidence is in the control or custody of the prosecution. And the rules say that simply they should be turning all of that over. It's not up to the prosecution to decide what the defense gets or what the prosecution plans on using, therefore what the defense should have access to. It's really their responsibility to turn everything over and the judge to make the decision whether or not that's actually admissible in court. And so they have, I think, some legs to stand on here when it comes to some of their requests regarding cell phone evidence or tests that were conducted by the prosecution. But the problem is the prosecution is saying, listen, we just don't have some of what they're asking for. Some of it were tests conducted by the FBI, and we don't have it ourselves. So how do you expect us to turn it over? So we'll see how the judge hashes that out today and later this week.
Criminal defense attorney Joshua Ritter. Josh, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. Also, don't forget to click that red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.